Alright, this is the astronaut reaction time game, and this one's pretty fun. So we're going to use a computer with Sratch 1.4, and the background is that if people are up in space, they want to know how fast can astronauts react to something in case there was ever some emergency, a meteorite coming or something. This is built off of the United Kingdom STEM Center website, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about the British astronaut Tim Peake, so they developed this thing. So we can go ahead and follow along with them, but make things, you know, a little bit more unique to however your kids or you feel like it should be. So let's take a look here. We're going to open up Sratch. Well, I'm going to start a brand new file. New file. No, I'm not going to save my current project. Okay, so here we go. I'll keep this one over here and this one right here just so we can copy along and see what's going on. Maybe make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so the very first thing is you're going to delete the cat sprite. We don't want a cat. So how do you delete the cat sprite? You just right click on it, say delete, goodbye cat, and now you're going to need to add a new sprite. To add a new sprite, oh no, first they actually want us to add a stage, so we can add a stage first. Go ahead and click a background, and I'm going to just look around on here to see if I can find something that looks space-like. Oh look, there's some stars, and here's a moon. For this one, I'll use the moon today. Okay. Now, I could paint and I could draw my own background. Kids do enjoy adding their own backgrounds to these things, so sometimes I tell them to just open up a search on stars. And if stars come up, I'm going to want to look for images. And maybe this image right here is going to be the perfect one for me. If I want to copy this image, I'm going to save this image as, and then just save it to somewhere on my computer where I can find it. Right now it's going to download JPEG. I could name it if I want, or I could just hit save. If I want to make this background over here be the one that I just did, I can click edit, and, or better yet, let's try clear, and now I'll say import, and it's looking for where did I put it. If I click on Pi, remember I just went to downloads, and look, there's a photo there for me. So I'll click on it, it'll become part of my background, and there we go. If I feel like it's not fitting quite right, I can edit it, and I believe I can zoom in. There we go. Now it fits. Okay, going back to my instructions over here, now it says go look for a copy of Tim Peake, the sprite. Save them somewhere so you'll be able to find your Raspberry Pi and find another image. So since I don't necessarily need Tim Peake, or maybe I do, I can go back up to my image search here and look for astronaut. There we go. Now, all of these images of an astronaut have a background in them, and it means that when we take a picture of it or when we import it, we might have to do a little bit of editing or getting rid of stuff. So let's just go ahead and try that. If this is the one, and oh, actually this is pretty exciting. Notice how it's got the checkered part behind it? That means it's an image without the background. So I really like this image. I'm going to save this image, and it's going to be called download PNG. It's a different file extension, but it'll still work fine. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to go over here and add a new sprite. Okay, it says, hey, where do you want to get that sprite from? I'm going to import it from my Pi, from my downloads, and there it is. I'll say OK, and it'll paste it right into there, and I think that should be OK. I just noticed there's this big black line around there. Not sure. Oh, the black line really isn't there. Okay. Oops. Let's go ahead and say OK. Perfect. Now I've got my astronaut and I've got my background. First step taken care of. All right. Save your Scratch project work by clicking on File, Save As. It's always a good idea. And it automatically puts it in Scratch project right there. So, astronaut. There we go. Already, next screen. Now it's time to make some variables. So, remember all of these instructions, we can make the astronaut move right or left, do all sorts of things, up and down. But one of the things we want to have happen is have it calculate something for us. So I'm going to make a variable, and I'm going to call it time. Okay. When I make that, it gives me a whole bunch of things I can change, I can do stuff with. And it holds a value that can be changed. And yeah, so let's worry about that in a minute. Now let's get the script. So we're going to give the script to our sprite, and here's what we're building. So when clicked, say, and I can say, hello British astronaut Tim Peake, are you ready? I'm just going to say, hello, are you ready? Okay, and I'm going to wait for a second. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to say hit space. Drag that over. And then now we want to have it reset the timer. Means that it's taken a timer. Now it'll be a wait until. You notice how it says wait 1 second? We can fill something else that's circled in there. But I'm looking for a blue sensing. Key is pressed. This one right here. And if I hover over it, oh, actually, didn't notice this one's a wait and this one's a wait until. Let me get that one gone. I'll just drag it back into there. Now I'll find a wait until if I look a little more carefully in here. There is a wait 1 second. And here's a wait until. That's the one I want. And now I go back to my sensing and same angle and it fits. Say and it's going to have a few things inside of this say. That guy will fit inside there. And then notice how there's two of them. It says join, and then there's another join. Let's think about this here for a second. Join, join, hello world. Your reaction time was, and then timer fits there, seconds. Okay, let's make sure we can put the timer in there. Do we have one for timer? Oh, we do have one for timer. Let's grab that one and put it right there. The reaction time was, and instead of world, I can put the word seconds. Just one more little bit of code, and let's see what happens. Looks like an orange one, and it says set time to timer. Okay, save your game and test it if it works by clicking on the green flag. Okay, save, just hit the save button, boom, saved. And let's test it by clicking on the green flag. Here's a green flag right here, and I'm ready to go. Hello, are you ready? Hit space. Oh, my reaction time was 1.235 seconds. Pretty exciting. Let's try this one again. I should be able to go faster than that. You ready? Oh, 0.39 seconds. Okay, you can see how much fun this is. Now, what I'd like to do with students is ask them to put another one on there, another sprite. So here's this one big sprite, but we could have another sprite right next to it, and it could become a reaction time game. Can you imagine that? A reaction time game where two students are both sitting at a keyboard, and when one key is pressed, or when each of them say go, they each press a key and find out who is faster. It's pretty easy to do this. I'm gonna just show you real quick. If I want to add a new sprite, okay, these are from the download sprite, but if I go back to my Scratch, I should be able to find a sprite somewhere. Whichever one I need for this little demo here. We're going to put a little ghost. Okay, here's a little ghost. I'm just going to put it right down here. And this ghost, notice, doesn't have any code on top of that ghost. This Tim Peake has a lot of, or this astronaut has a lot of code. So if I duplicate this entire section of code, I can drag the whole section of code and hover it on top of the new sprite. Okay, now my new sprite has that code. This one has two sets of code, so I'll just drag that one off so it goes away. That doesn't make any sense to have both of them go at the exact same time. But if this one isn't hitting the space bar, it's hitting a different one, say the right arrow, okay? And I'll have this guy say hit right arrow. Helps if I spell arrow right. Okay, now we get both of our reaction times. Okay, let's see if we save this game, if it's going to work. Save. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Wow, we just got our very first test game to see who's faster. You can imagine this in the kind of quiz questions that come up. We'll use the same technique of finding variables and doing stuff in a later thing where we actually hook up our GPIO pins. Okay, that's it for now. Hope you had fun.